Hello everyone. Hope all of you are doing well. First and foremost, let me thank you for participating in the kickoff meeting of the project. This project is basically connected to the revamping of our current financial practices. Let me walk you through the agenda of this meeting. In the beginning, we will discuss the objective of the project. Then we will establish the scope of the project. Further, we are going to determine the timeline and approach which we will adopt for the project. And finally, we will discuss the roles and responsibilities of individual team members. By the way, if you have any doubts or questions during the course of presentation, please feel free to jump in. Moving to the objective, let me give you a brief about our organization's current financial health. In March 2017, our headquarters were raided by US federal agents and we were blamed for tax evasion practices. Being a global company, we do have offshore accounts across the world, and the money from these offshore accounts are routed to Switzerland. In Switzerland, we have a subsidiary known as Caterpillar Sal or CSAL, which is currently under the lens. So the management has decided to dissolve it and form a new monetary policy. So the problem statement at our hand is to create a new monetary system which adheres to the law of the land in which we are operating in, and also to reallocate the resources of CSAL. We have to make sure that a payment of 1.5 billion will be paid as deferred taxes to the US authorities. While determining the scope of this project, first we have to work on dissolving CSAL resources. In this, we have to include the utilization of existing bills from CSAL. Then we have to look into the existing human capital employed in CSAL. Either we have to relocate them in different business units of EU or pay them the parting allowances. From there, we have also to pay goodwill impairment charges to the Switzerland authorities. And finally, we have to analyze the cash movement network which is in the existing structure. Simultaneously, we have to design new monetary system. In this, we have to consider our handling of offshore accounts, then our cash movement channels, and a location for new investment headquarters. And finally, if we got good monetary exchange deals, say with third companies like Deerent Corporation, then we have to negotiate with them, and then the scope of this project will extend by one more month. As we are approaching towards the end of this financial year, so we have a restricted timeline of 10 weeks for this project. Our activities will involve the data collection from CSAL and other offshore accounts initially in 3 weeks, and then we will design the interviews and get a target list of the SMEs from offshore accounts to interview. From there, we will compile our interview notes and construct a voice of business. Meanwhile, we also have to determine a financial model keeping in mind the cost optimization, HR management, and cash channel management. From there on, we have to analyze that financial model and connect the dots to get a better goodwill impairment. And in the final 3 weeks, we have to create a story for the executive storyboard and refine our content for the recommendations. Please keep in mind, since these activities follow one after another, but they will overlaps with one another, and also they are in the chronology. Now it's time to know more about each other's background. So I'll start with Chris. He'll be our project sponsor and associated with Caterpillar from last 20 years. In the previous framing of our monetary policy, he was working alongside PwC, and he will be responsible for matching the final deliverables of our project with the business outcomes. I'll be acting as the project manager. I have around 7 years of work experience and recently concluded the restructuring across various business units of Caterpillar. In this project, I'll be responsible from the initiation to closure of the project. Angie will help us as a resource for source development. She's having around 4 years of work experience and worked along with cash flow practices in the accounting horizontal. And finally, we have Brad with 2 years of work experience. He worked with the auditing branch of Caterpillar, and in this project, he will help us in keeping the records of meetings and gathering new financial modeling trends. Once again, I would like to thank you all for giving your valuable time to hear me out. Let's meet on October 30th to start the project. In the meantime, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach me out on my email ID. Thank you.